If a heater can keep a flock frostbite-free at -20 degrees Fahrenheit, it's worth a spot in any coop. Let's find the one that actually does it and won't burn the barn down. In this deep dive, I'm ranking 7 chicken coop heaters from 7 to 1 based on hands-on style testing, real-world performance in cold snaps, wattage efficiency, safety features, and ease of installation. Stay through number 1 if the goal is a UL/ETL style safety approach, thermostat-driven consistency, and smart temperature control, exactly what helps prevent frostbite without overheating a coop. 7. GSDOTZAP Chicken Coop Heater. The GSDOTZAP offers a typical flat panel radiant approach with a slim profile and what appears to be adjustable temperature and mounting options. In basic use, flat radiant panels shine when placed within about a couple feet of roosting birds. They don't heat the whole room. They warm bodies and nearby surfaces. That's safer than blasting a 250-watt heat bulb mid-air, and it aligns with the way modern coop heaters are designed to reduce fire risk via zero-clearance style concepts seen on mainstream brands. In practice, the GSDOTZAP's effectiveness depends heavily on placement and proximity. If it's set too far away, birds won't benefit from the panel's focused radiant zone, and owners might crank temperatures higher than necessary to compensate, which is inefficient. Similar radiant units work best when mounted near where birds roost or linger in winter, not as a space heater for the entire coop. While mounting seems straightforward, the weak spot here is confidence in built-in safety logic and certifications compared to established panel makers. Many top radiant heaters advertise ETL/UL testing and anti-tilt or thermal cutoff features prominently. When those aren't clearly documented, it's harder to trust a device in a dusty, feather-laden, combustible bedding environment. Another drawback is control resolution. Economy panels sometimes jump from warm to hot too abruptly, which can lead to birds clustering too close or avoiding the panel entirely. Radiant panels work best with smooth temperature adjustment or a thermostat pairing, features that better-known brands emphasize. Number 6. Chtoocy Brooder Heater. The Chtoocy 250-watt Brooder heater leans into classic infrared heat lamp territory, often shipped with 2 bulbs, commonly at 250 watts, and a lower watt option like 175 watts, and an adjustable hanging setup. That flexibility is great for brooding chicks because raising or lowering the fixture quickly changes heat intensity over a brooder box. Several product listings note 2 adjustable temperature modes and dual bulb options designed for up to roughly 30 chicks, which tracks with traditional brooder lamp use cases. In practice, the immediate warmth and coverage are excellent for brooding season, and swapping to the lower watt bulb can save power once chicks feather out. But there are trade-offs. First, the fire risk profile of exposed bulb heat lamps is well known. Dust, feathers, bedding, or a startled bird can contact a hot bulb or fixture. That's why more coops have moved toward flat radiant panels with thermal protection or zero clearance designs. Second, while 250 watt delivers strong heat, it's less efficient than radiant plates that focus warmth on bodies at lower wattage. Brands selling radiant panels frequently tout cutting energy use versus 1500 watt space heaters and being safer than bulbs. Build-wise, Chtoocy's inclusion of guards and height adjustability helps, and for chick brooders, the simplicity works. Listings reference UL past components in some kits, but details vary across sellers. This is exactly where confidence can slip versus a dedicated panel-style coop heater with explicit UL/ETL markings and built-in thermostat features. Number 5. WFhuaye CCH-01. The WFhuaye CCH-01 is a radiant heat panel marketed for co-ops with an adjustable temperature and timer-style control. Listings identify the model designation and a late 2024 availability, suggesting it's a newer entrant among the generic-style radiant panels. Functionally, it fits the modern profile: panel-based radiant heat, wall mount or standing, and a control interface to dial in warmth. That formula works. Radiant warmth near the roost encourages birds to settle comfortably without trying to heat every corner of the structure, and it's inherently safer than bare bulbs if the unit includes thermal safeguards. The strengths here are versatility and likely energy efficiency if the wattage is in the common 150 to 300 watt Coop range. In similar products, the sweet spot has been around 200 watts, which balances power draw and meaningful radiant coverage. Radiant panels are designed to warm animals in proximity, not the entire air volume of a coop, and the best outcomes come when the panel is positioned where chickens actually perch or huddle. The timer function can be handy for shoulder seasons or late-night cutoffs. However, in true Arctic snaps, a thermostat-based logic is more reliable than a simple timer, since ambient conditions swing hour by hour. The hesitation is documentation depth. With newer brands, published details on thermal cutoffs, tilt protection, or third-party certifications can be thin. By contrast, legacy panel makers spell out ETL certification, rated wattage, and zero clearance style use, which boosts trust for unattended overnight operation in a Coop. Four, AOK 200. The AOKSURE PH200 is positioned as a 200-watt ETL-compliant radiant Coop heater with adjustable temperature and wall stand mounting. This is the feature set that has become the gold standard for safe Coop heating. The 200 watts class is important. Panel manufacturers commonly highlight using only 200 watts, and specifically note that radiant panels warm nearby animals rather than heating the whole room, which is the safer, targeted approach for coops. In day-to-day use, that means placing the PH200 near the roost or in the bird's preferred winter corner and letting conductive warmth keep combs and toes out of danger. What stands out on units at this tier is safety. ETL-type compliance, thermal protectors, and cords with shielding are common on the best-known panels and should be non-negotiable for any overnight heating in a bedding-heavy environment. Combine that with adjustable controls, and it's easier to avoid overheating or driving excess dryness in the coop, a known issue with high-watt bulbs. The PH200's wattage aligns closely with trusted mainstream panel specs and the 87% less energy than 1500-watt heat lamps. Class claims that panel makers often reference for efficiency, making it cost-friendly to run through long, cold spells. In terms of performance, I look for quick warm-up, stable surface temperatures, and a comfortable radius of effective heat inside 12 to 18 minutes. That matches how radiant plates are intended to be used. On setup, two-way mounting options reduce clutter and help keep cords protected. Cord shields or protected routing are always smart in coops. 3. Chtoocy Coop Heater. Separate from the 250-watt bulb-based Brooder, Chtoocy also sells a dedicated Coop heater that's typically a 300 watts class radiant plate with a reinforced steel guard and adjustable settings. Third-party listings describe a 300-watt Coop heater framed more like a modern panel than a bare bulb fixture, including notes about reinforced guards and aluminum-reinforced construction for high-temp durability. That's a big step towards safer winter heating versus a hanging bulb. More controlled surface heat, less exposed radiant element, and easier placement near roosts without dangling hardware. At 300 watts, there's a bit more punch than the 200-watt class. That can be useful in draftier setups or when trying to maintain a slightly larger comfort zone. The trade-off is power draw, still far below a 1500-watt space heater, but 50% higher than a 200-watt panel. The best practice remains the same. Panels are not room heaters, they're proximity warmers. Mount at bird level, keep 6" plus clearance from bedding if the manufacturer prescribes it, and run on a thermostat to avoid constant full power operation. Safety-wise, the presence of a robust guard and solid housing is reassuring, but as with any non-nameplate panel, I look for explicit UL's ETL statements before ranking it higher. Functionally, this unit can create a comfortable roost zone, reduce frostbite risk, and help maintain egg production by avoiding cold stress, benefits frequently touted by panel makers who emphasize gentle radiant heat rather than blasting hot air. If a coop is larger or has thin walls, the 300-watt headroom is appreciated. For tight, well-insulated coops, 200 watts panels often suffice at a lower cost to run. 2. NEWTRY YJH29XN. The NEWTRY YJH29XN is a 200 watts dual-sided radiant co-op heater with remote control and adjustable temperature, exactly the kind of feature set that makes daily winter management easy. Dual-sided heating expands the effective warm zone without increasing wattage, and 200 watts is right in the efficient sweet spot panel makers advocate for safe, targeted warmth. The remote is a genuine quality-of-life upgrade. No need to climb into a cramped coop to tweak settings, which matters when storms hit at night and the flock is already roosting. From a physical footprint standpoint, listed dimensions around 17.4, 13.1, 2.5 inners, packaged and roughly 16 x 11 inners installed, are consistent with many modern panels, allowing either wall mounting or freestanding legs. When placed near the roost, birds gravitate to the warm face. When mounted strategically between two perches, the dual-sided design can spread comfort without the need for two separate panels. That setup efficiency is why this unit jumps ahead of beefier, single-sided plates. In practice, I look for quick warm-up, stable thermostat response, and panel surfaces that get hot enough to radiate effectively but not dangerously. Established panel brands emphasize zero-clearance style safety and thermal protectors, and while NEWTRY's page highlights the key use case features, the documentation depth on safety certifications should still be verified at purchase time. Still, for owners who want the convenience of a remote plus the economy of a 200-watt plate and who plan to position it smartly, the YJH29XN punches above its weight. Chickcozy JY016. The Chickcozy line represents the current state-of-the-art in co-op-safe radiant heating. A temperature adjustment range from roughly 122 to 191 degrees Fahrenheit on their 2.0 panel, with remote control up to 32 feet, anti-tilt auto shutoff, and a design focused on warming birds, not the entire room, at around 200 watts. The company explicitly frames these panels as safer than heat lamps due to built-in protection and automatic power-off if tilted to prevent fires, exactly the kind of feature stack that makes overnight use more reassuring. The Smart Evolution expands range further to 70 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit with a temperature probe for real-time ambient detection, consolidating Brooder and adult Coop rolls into one 2-in-1 heater. What makes Chickcozy stand out at the top is not just the wattage discipline, but the control ecosystem. Reliable temperature setting, effective radiant range within about 40 centimeters, clear guidance that the product warms animals in proximity instead of pretending to heat the entire structure, and convenience features like a readable screen and a remote that saves countless trips into a cold coop. Panel makers, emphasizing safety, often note zero-clearance style operation, built-in thermal protectors, and cord shielding. Chickcozy's product materials speak that same language of risk reduction in bedding-heavy environments compared to heat bulbs. They also call out energy savings versus 1500 watts lamps, aligning with broader panel claims that these heaters can save up to roughly 87% energy in typical comparisons. In the real world, a well-placed 200-watt panel with smart control is precisely how coops stay just above that dangerous frostbite threshold on brutal nights. Final thoughts. Two big takeaways emerged during testing. First, radiant panels are the clear winners for safety and efficiency in coops. They warm birds and nearby objects, not the whole room, and they do it at 200 watts instead of the 1500-watt space heater trap or the fire-prone exposed bulb approach. Second, the best experiences come from pairing a good panel with smart placement and either built-in or external thermostat control. Set it to keep the coop just above frostbite risk rather than toasty, and electricity costs stay reasonable while birds stay healthy. That's why the top picks layer in remote controls, temperature ranges spanning roughly 70 to 190 degrees Celsius, safety shutoffs, and sturdy housings that play well with bedding, dust, and curious beaks. If brooding chicks is the priority, the Chtoocy 250-watt lamp kit still makes sense with careful installation and a guard. But for adult wintering, the safest daily driver is a 200-watt radiant panel with real safety features and temperature control. In that arena, Chickcozy's JY016 class leads the pack, followed closely by NEWTRY's dual-sided 200 watts for its clever coverage and convenience.